When I was younger, my old father would say, the only thing worth having was found at the end of each day. But that was then and this is now, and he's far gone. And his voice would linger on for far too long. He said, my fearless son, you can't be stronger than them all. The birds control the sky and if you jump, you'll likely fall. And you need an alibi just to pass by in this life. Cause your chill can't protect you from death's sight. Oh no. When he lived to find himself, I left his spirit and body and soul. I also live with that lead, literally. Cause if he's not worth anything, then what do I know? I'm just a carbon copy of a damn machine. He said, you'll never breathe and you'll never touch the water. You'll never see the sights that I, your father, have entrusted to you, entrusted to you. I'm sorry, but you will never touch the sky. Sometimes I'll hold my head up and say, the only thing I live for is to be thrown to the fray. No legacy just digging deep in my soul. I've become the underground king of nothing at all. I'm under orders to destroy all we dare. Disturb this cave and bring a light to my lair. I am more dangerous than you comprehend. Cause there's nothing holding me back from the
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. It is me, Dukect, back with you once again. I was going to do this on Thursday, but I felt, a little bit off, but I'm feeling better. No worries. I'm okay. I just feel a little exhausted and such. But you know what? I'm back. Don't worry. Everything is going going well. Well, in the world of wrestling, everything is all panicking and everyone is going a little bit mad. They're all going crazy. So let's sit back and to look at this situation. Let's look at this whole thing. So let's look at this. Just looking at some Rebel Moon stuff, which looks cool. I'm just hoping it's actually good. But anyway, well, let's look at this thing here. Yes. Fox CEO, basically, if you saw my little thing, like I said, Vinnie Mac fleeced Fox, and he did of $1 billion deal of that putting the SmackDown there, which was looking at it, it was pretty stupid. Yes, I will say it was pretty stupid. And the reason why I believe that is because they never, like right here, it didn't meet discipline parameters. It says right here. How we analyze, right here, this is from, there's all this other stuff, Fightful, all that stuff. It's right here. Speaking of Fox earnings call, Fox CEO Lachlan Murdoch commented on the decision to not renew its rights with SmackDown. How we analyze the WWE renewal, we look at all of our sports portfolios the same way, and all new rights the same way. On the basis of analysis on both advertising point of view, analysis on both advertising point of view, we weren't hitting advertising numbers due to the audience of WWE for our return on investment to be above the level we would accept. Also, we didn't attribute enough transmission revenue to WWE either. It made sense for us to move on from that. They've been a great partner for many years, but quite simply, we're very disciplined, and the ROI didn't meet our disciplinary parameters. We wish them luck, and we move forward from them. And they just right there, there's no real investment. And looking at the history of network television pro wrestling, it's not good, especially WWE. Saturday night's main event, either the new one or the old one they did the new one they did a couple years ago, and the old one didn't really, even when the top stars, they got canceled when the stuff started to fade away. And that was the problem of the whole thing about SmackDown. They just don't have a way of connecting it. Wrestling, people say, oh, the ticket sales, oh, the draw. It's not a draw. SmackDown, and they're not putting in people on the seats. And it's just looking at the stuff itself. It's not helpful. It's not helpful when you look at what's going on. When they have all this stuff that you realize that pro wrestling is not. That sort of thing. It's not really. They don't really have the show itself doesn't. This you look at the way wrestling fans are not really the target audience of some of these people. And that's the case, but also wrestling doesn't help. It doesn't really help its things about it, not just the industry itself. Looking at the Vince McMahon, his issues didn't help much. The multiple wrestlers speaking out, everything didn't help much either. In fact, I would say, I'll talk, AEW. Let me just put this thing here. Put this here. I'm gonna put this. This is all connecting here. I'm gonna weave it all in together. This is like, well, why is Ric Flair? All this stuff. This is why pro wrestling, because he's the whole plane ride from hell. All this stuff about him being flashing everybody and everything else. Ric Flair signing a multi-year deal and everything. That is a horrible look for a company with all of his baggage to everything else. And yeah, all these other issues that Ric Flair has, bag onto and everything else. The man is, everything he has done is just, he was going to sign earlier, but again, the play by hell, the sexual assault claims, everything else that hurts. People will not like wrestling and everything else. And then it gets even worse when you have, let me see if I can find a story about this. Let's see, where is it? I gotta look at this. Let's see if I can find the story. Where is it? Ah, here we are. This stuff here too. I'm not making any of this up. Right here. Cocaine spot at NWA pay-per-view could negatively impact the CW deal. This is like this right here. And I'm right here. Sinister Minister and such. James Missile. Jeez Louise. Here at this right here. This past weekend, NWA Champagne, longtime pro wrestling manager, Father James Mitchell, participated in a controversial segment that went viral. Mitchell was seen at a private seating area near the ring, surrounded by scantily clad women drinking bottles of alcohol and some very energetic pro wrestlers. And the reason why this amped up energy? Cocaine. Mitchell can be seen snorting the illegal substance and passing around his young companion to indulge in as well. Oh, and now this right here. Look at this. The deal with the NWA owned by Smashing Pumpkins frontman Billy Corgan recently signed pair deals with the CW. The deals would see the NWA bring their weekly power show and a new reality TV series to their top 20 channel. However, we've learned the recent cocaine spot upset the higher-ups at the CW, and we were told that this cocaine spot was Corgan's idea, and he pushed for it to be on pay-per-view. I mean, we wonder why any advertiser will mess with this type of product. What type of stuff is this? Are you surprised that any? And I know, like, but I'm like, if you're a wrestling fan or any wrestling organization, if you hear this, you say, "What? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Like, what is this?" Any advertiser will look at this and say, "What? Why are you? I wouldn't even touch this with a 10-foot pole." And people wonder why, and they will look at you and say, "Why is wrestling so relegated to the backwater of anything else? Why is it that so example, the NHL games are just completely dwarfed by, stuff like AEW, Rampage, or, for example, Rampage, Collision, or Dynamite, or NW, no, not that. WWE's NXT can be higher ratings to get more people, to get more watching and everything else. Stuff like this. And I'm not just being mean or whatever on the NWA, which is now exactly. But yeah, look at this. There's a 9% chance that the NWA reality show and Power all air on the CW app, not on the television. So that's just, that is just so stupid and everything else, because they really screwed themselves. Great job, Corgan. Beautiful stuff. And oh yeah, wait a minute. Right here. Here it is. The reality show was fully paid by Corgan. The exclusive series has final creative say on it. The CW didn't even pay anything for it. It was probably for selling ads. Jesus. Oh my Lord. This. And I'm not even. But you know what? But look at all this stuff here, ladies and gentlemen. Where you have Ric Flair and AEW, who I don't know why they did it, because I think Sting begged him, like, Tony Khan being the mark he is, basically trying to sign Ric Flair and everything else, trying to please Sting or whatever. Fine. But I'm just like, you have to take all his goddamn baggage with him. Ugh. This really is the stupidest idea he ever did. And okay, and not only that, let's see. I want to just look at this past. I mean, looking at the past with WWE storylines and such. Let's look the storyline right here. Remember this storyline, the Kane Lita storyline angle. Remember this? You have this. Kane falls in love with Lita. And stalking and kidnapped, and then sexually assaulted her. And then just a months-long feud with the Big Rig Machine, and then just with Lita and Matt Hardy, and then Matt Hardy just lost the feud. And everything else. And that's the messed up that Lita had to marry her sexual abuser. And then you have Kane choke slamming Matt Hardy off the damn stage. And then and after that, he's gone. Bye. See you later. See you later, bucko. He's done. And and then it gets even worse. Then, next thing you know, we had Gene Snitsky coming in. The debut match against Kane, somehow hits a chair shot trying to defend himself from the monster, and then he falls on the pregnant rice and then causing Lita to miscarriage. And then somehow Kane becomes the good guy. He becomes the hero of the story. Let me repeat that. The person Kane used Lita to sexually assault her and such. I'm not saying the grape her in storyline, but it was all storyline. Raped her, got her pregnant, caused her to miscarriage, and somehow Kane became the hero of the story. And then somehow that's what it is. It wasn't my fault. And somehow that became his little thing. And they tried to fight. And yeah. But look at this. Into a hero character. Just think about that. How did this become a hero character? You just somehow you kidnapped a woman, forcibly impregnated her, and then into a hero character. I have like that to me is just you wonder why, like I said, you wonder why everyone look at pro wrestling as it does. Like, look at pro wrestling. And you sit there, you look at this pro wrestling and you wonder why people don't, and you wonder why. And you wonder why no one wants to actually advertise or actually wrestling would never get out of the gutter. With these storylines and these horrible things taking place in this wrestling stuff, man. I'm not even talking about how old the wrestling fans are dusty or whatever. I'm like, no, that may be a part of it, but when you have stuff like this, like I said, this here, no wonder no one would look like pro wrestling and say, okay, we could take this, like, okay, let's just, we're going to put the money back on this, oh, gosh. Oh, Lord. And then And then somehow divorce. I just, yeah, the divorce stuff, man. This whole thing here was so stupid. This whole thing was just the Kane storyline was one of the most dumbest things I've ever seen in my life. And this is again, and probably one of the most backwards, sexist storylines out there. And again, people wonder why like most women don't want to watch this stuff. The reason why some people are just looking at wrestling as gutter trash. This is what it is. This right here is one of the most gutter trash storylines and probably one of the most popular characters. Ugh. So it is nasty, and you wonder why people don't they look at wrestling as there's a reason why, ladies and gentlemen, no one looks at wrestling as a wow, it's so progressive, it's so this, that, and the other. No, memories. People don't forget. All right, people don't forget about this stuff. And when you don't have when you have a when you are having a situation like that's what the problem is. That's when you have a culture that just says, that's fine. This is fine. This is okay. This is all good. No, it's not. And when you have this, when you see this, you got like I said, you got people like I said, Ric Flair in AEW, which man, there's been a lot more old folks coming around AEW, man. Just a company that's just spinning its wheels. WWE getting Vince fleecing Fox and doing their stuff on SmackDown, and they are still wondering, well, they get their ticket sales, but yeah, and again, Fox left because they don't really have any growth on there, whatever. And everyone's saying there's pro wrestling's in a boom period. Pro wrestling's on a boom period. I'm like, really? If it wasn't a boom period, would they would be on a new deal right now with Fox right now? They would still be on Fox, not going back to USA, and I can't wait to see what they're going to do with NXT and Raw at this point. I wouldn't be surprised if NXT goes to Peacock or another streaming service. I mean, heck, at this point where streaming services are slowly losing their money after all the strikes and all this other stuff, and all the the studios and all this stuff are like, oh crap, there's no money in streaming. So I honestly think NXT will probably be on there on cable or somewhere else. I don't know how long NXT is going to be around because I wouldn't be surprised they might sacrifice NXT to streaming, and then when that goes, bye bye NXT because our Raw might be on a different network on a different night. That gets people saying, "Oh, that's not possible." Yeah, then daggone straight, it could be possible. So yeah, it's this is again people saying, "Oh, WE, everything else is AEW Pro Wrestling is great and everything else. It's doing fine." But I'm looking at I'm looking at the looking at all this stuff here, and you wonder, is it going to be in that position much longer? Is it going to be, hot? Because again, just because something that looks hot now can just go in the flames. But that's just my personal opinion. What are your thoughts on here? Link, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. I want to hear from you. And don't worry, we'll cut this thing up and put it on the main channel as such. The Dukect Lounge will be the full shows will be here on this channel here. Also, the stuff over there on my main channel will be sliced up and put up there in different parts and everything else. So to be easier to consume. That's how we do here on the Dukect Lounge. Thanks again for watching. Thank you so much for being here. Um, because next time, the next segment, we're going to talk about Marvel and this whole situation about the MCU being this, that, the other. Is this going to be? Looks like it's going to be good. This is bad. All the other stuff. What's going on? It looks like there's supposedly this huge crisis in Marvel. No one's going to do anything. We got to sit here and talk about all this stuff here. Now, I'm going to talk about this right after this little bit of break here, live on the Dukect Lounge. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for being here. We'll be right back after this. Thank you again for being here on the Dukect Lounge. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are back here live on the Dukect Lounge. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for sitting here. And, well, boys and girls, no, well, we have more talk because this is the main event. And the main event is Marvel is in the mud. And no, I'm not talking about that terrible scripts thing with WNXT, which is if you ever watch if you haven't seen it, just imagine if you are old like myself or you're on YouTube and you are. Hopefully, after you do this video, just look, type in MC Hammer Death Row Records. You'll see what he did. MC Hammer doing that, and you're like, oh yeah, you'll get it. Trust me, you're gonna sit back and get it. Anyway, Marvel's in crisis. Oh no, all the stuff is falling down. What's going on? Oh, what's going on? Why is no one going to see Marvel movies? Well, let's really be honest. Let's see. The reason why a lot of people look at this is Jonathan Majors and the whole thing about the sexual assaults, which a lot of people are talking about. And honestly, if he's innocent, he's innocent. He's guilty. If he's guilty, lock him up. And if he's innocent, let him go free or whatever. And honestly, personally, the way they did the whole Kane thing was pretty stupid. You have him basically not just lose in Disney Plus show, which barely anyone saw. You have him lose to Ant-Man, lose to Ants, and now he's dead again. 3 in the season 2 of Loki. 2 times he's been killed off in Loki at Disney Plus show. And another time in a movie with Ant-Man, why the heck are you going to put this stuff here? It's so stupid. The way they handle these characters are pretty stupid. And that's the problem. And now they can see they're trying to pivot, but it just doesn't work. And by the way, if you haven't noticed, Jonathan Majors is not the only one about the sexual assault. There's another one that is also, this issue tier 2 is Tanakua, the one who portrayed Namor in Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. He has been accused. This was in June of this year. He was accused of sexual assault by Maria Elena Rios in a series of public tweets. Rios attempted to distance herself from Pierre Poder Petro, an organization focusing combating racism in Mexico, of which the Black Panther 2 star is a member. One tweet, translated in Spanish, she claimed Huerta to be a violent and sexual predator, and the organization allegedly pursued her in order to avoid scandals over their Marvel movie. I made it very clear to them when I left their sect that they protect the violator and sexual predator of Tarnak Huerta, that they did not publish anything about me. They still went to look for me at a hypocritical ball concert to avoid scandals over their Marvel movie. Rios continued to follow a tweet saying it's difficult to discuss the abuse of a sexual predator who is loved for playing a character in the movie, claiming Huerta was charming in appearance and a narcissist. It is very difficult to talk about the emotional issue and abuse of power of a sexual predator who is loved in the world for playing a character in a movie like Thanos Herrera. Claiming charming in appearance, the great hallmark of a narcissist plus good helping of victimization. The actress did not go to deal about her claims, but did respond affirming that another user who Twitter who asked whether Herrera assaulted her, saying there are several more. As reported by the Mexican outlet Reforma, the accusations against Huerta began after Reyes claimed Paula Proto published a podcast episode that she was a part of without paying her. They do not have consent to disseminate a material that they did not want to pay me, and that like this in several they exploited me to work for them for free. The organization responded on Twitter saying it cannot pay you for something that is not the production. We await the right to reply, and we are accused of not having to pay you for this podcast. We cannot pay you for something that is not a production. And we did not publish it. Only the content that was recommended, as we recommend content almost every day. The update right there is saying that he says a false and completely unsubstantiated. The actor recently made his debut at Black Panther 2, was going to come back for King Dynasty. Then you have, like I said, Jonathan Majors, all this stuff here. We haven't heard much update of this story. Either this was squashed or it's still ongoing. We don't know yet. And there's so much issues about. See, did I share this? Just. Oh, okay. I want to make sure. All right, here we are. But like I said, this right here, looking at it, once again, there is, you know, all the comments and all that stuff here. But yeah, there is so much stuff here about this, and man, Marvel really has this this horrible type of luck here. And then you have, like I said, right here, the reason why. And now look here, there's a lot of stuff here was like right here. And I think one of the main problem is the Marvel machine was pumping out a lot of content to get to the point where there was just too much, and they were burning people out on superheroes. It's possible, says Wall Street analyst Eric Handler, who covers Disney. The more you do, the tougher it is to maintain quality. They tried experimenting with breaking in some new characters like Shang-Chi and Eternals with mixed results. Budget as big as these, you need home runs. And honestly, looking at Shang-Chi, I look at that movie and I'm sitting there like, dude, they didn't need to waste all that money on it. I mean, what happened to having a mid-budget, like $45 million, stuff beating? Like, you don't need to have all this, like, CGI and such. People are like, oh, this CGI. I'm like, I remember having some good Kung Fu movies didn't cost this much money. I feel like that's the problem. They just felt like they needed to put all this money into it. Same thing with Black Widow. Way too much money. Same thing with Eternals. I liked it. I wish they could have done a little bit more with it. But yeah. Look, they say right here, they need to will struggle to get past the infield, at least by Marvel's outside standards. It costs $250 million. Yeah, this is the problem of all these movies. And heck, the Marvels, I don't even know who's the antagonist. No one knows why are these three people fighting. Like, we have no idea who these people are. It's someone from a very niche villain, and it's just like, it's the phase one. And I'm like, this is a problem. This is a problem. And heck, the problem is that they just phase one. It's all about phase one with these characters. It's like a restart and such. And another issue is that they turned Miss Marvel's powers into just this genie type stuff instead of having stretchy powers, which was, meanwhile, you look at One Piece, they actually did it with Luffy. They actually did it, which is, another problem with the Marvel characters. Is just like they just really don't respect any of these powers and everything. Also, this whole Nia DaCosta saying that she's she's doing working on another film, saying, oh, while she was really post production. Here's the real stuff. Because by the way, this movie, let me just see something. Okay. Let's see here. A lot of people say, oh, this is something, so crazy that Nia DaCosta is working 2 films at once. What's going on? Meanwhile, let's see. Let's see right here. 15 directors by Karo Tozawa did the same thing. Rashomon and Scandal, All About Even No Way Out, Joseph Mankiewicz, Alfred Hitchcock, Francis Ford Coppola, Mel Brooks, John Hughes, Steven Spielberg, Jurassic Park and Schindler's List. Talk about two things that are just dramatically different, and somehow he did this, and you see, it kept going on and on and on and on and on. Regardless of what you think of it, they actually did. These directors have done two multiple movies, and it's just, and then I'm like, I don't think that's an odd thing to do. And besides, most of these films are are done by a committee and done by they're not really a director's hand. There's not the Marvel movies for the most part don't have any director touch to it. The most director's touch to it is probably maybe Sam Raimi, but other than that, and maybe the Russo brothers. That's it. I mean, the only ones I could say is you know because those are the things. Because it's honestly just feel like a committee and such. I mean, you could say that Josh Whedon had some stuff to it, yeah, but you notice more often now it's just done by committee. Real directors don't really have much power to it. That's why you're not going to see a Christopher Nolan do something like that, or some of these people like say it's a film by committee. It's not really movies. You're not putting an imprint on it. It's just content. You know. And then it just says a lot of people are saying that Kevin Feige is also spread too thin. I agree. I think that's the problem, is that he doesn't really, he's overlooked, he's over all the stuff. And meanwhile, everyone looks at, for example, the Marvel's VFX battalion struggling to keep pace. You got like, Quantum Mania. There's like right here, quote, it says, one veteran power broker says there were at least 10 scenes where the visual effects have been added at the last minute and were out of focus. It was insane. I've never seen something like that in my entire career. Everyone was talking about it. Even the kids of executives were talking about it. Yeah, the Marvels had left the Ant-Man sequel in a squeeze, pushing up production schedules by 4.5 months. Marvel films are known for going down to the wild, giving Fergus to foam the runway and land the plane that way. One executive familiar with how the company operates, but this level of unfinished, unprecedented, and would be noted in scary reviews when Temple moves with the $200 million budget opened 11 days after premiere. Critics weren't only ones dismayed. Fed up with the 14-hour days, no overtime, and all the extra other stuff, Marvel workers, I think they should be they unionize. And honestly, I wish they could I wish they start striking now. But the problem is they go overseas, and there's no real consequence for that. But I just said this positive is that the straw that broke the camel's back, said a former Marvel Studios VFX assistant coordinator Anna George, who testified for the Congressional Labor Caucus at October 19th. The pay and long hours at Marvel were the reason we had to start our unionization process there. The conditions were completely unsustainable. Yeah. And a lot of it's like this. The guillotine was like Victoria Alonso. Remember her? She was like, oh, well, she was this, that, and the other. But this was a scapegoat right here. And you know what? The saying that it is a system of deep rot, namely a lack of oversight in the script development. In the original arc of She-Hulk, a flashback of a star Taylor Mainsley transmission to her Hulk character didn't take place until episode 8, the premiere episode. But after Marvel's brains trust watched the footage, it realized the scene needed to happen in the pilot episode so the audience could see more of the character's backstory. That meant that the VFX team was tasked with fixing the mess in post-production. The so-called bad VFX we see was because of half-baked scripts. Half-baked scripts, says one person involved with She-Hulk. That's not Victoria. That is Kevin, and even above Kevin. Those issues should be addressed in pre-production. The timeline is not allowing the Marvel executives to sit with the material. All the while, Marvel was bleeding money. She-Hulk cost me $25 million. A single episode. $25 million, dwarfing the budget of a final season episode of Game of Thrones. But without similar zeitgeist bang. Exactly. She-Hulk came and went. Game of Thrones is still talked about. Game of Thrones is still talked about, and its prequel series is still one of the biggest shows out there, and one of the biggest stuff on HBO's stuff here. August 2022 season premiere of El Capitan Theater foreshadowed what was to come 6 months later. The Quantumania bow, the Seahawks subjects were out of focus in multiple scenes. There are signs that flow of market leading people to turn out. There are a lot of people saying this is it. But you know the reason why? Quality, not quantity. They're half-baked, undercooked, and this is a problem with a lot of them. And it's not all these actors' fault. I know people are like, oh, they're woke and this, that. No. I don't care how good or anything else is. When you have lack of quality, when you keep doing more and more content, spitting out content like a forever type of machine, people are not going to respond, and you have these overbloated budgets, and no real way to actually recoup your money. What the world are you doing? What are you doing? It's insane. It's legitimately you're not. What is Disney expecting when you're basically burning money like this? And then you get to the whole Blade stuff with Michelle. An Oscar-winning actor. The project has got things were like a 2023 release date, but then the project got shot down with 5 writers, 2 directors, 1 shutdown with 6 weeks before production. One person with the script says the story at one point morphed into a narrative led by women filled with life lessons, and Blade was to get what? What is this? What is this clown show? Blade is basically John Wick with vampires. How hard is it to mess this up? And they did it. And I'm like, oh, so look, this type of stuff of women being, life lessons and such, but you gotta know the audience you're going into. You know what your material is. I mean, this is, again, you don't know what your audience is. And now they're saying and now you had supposedly Ali, they pissed him off, so he's going to leave. And finally, we're back to the drawing board, hire Michael Green, the Oscar writer of Logan, the JC saying just fix this stuff, start anew. And now they're going to try to do it. And no, this movie is not delayed. It's 2 years late because it's 2025. It's 2 years late. This movie is 2 years late on a budget of less than 100, which is good. This budget, honestly, it should be like maybe 50 million. And honestly, be small, simple, him killing vampires. That's it. No real big connecting to all this other stuff. Blade, killing vampires, slowly build himself up to the MCU. And then maybe do something with the Eternals or whatever. Interesting stuff. And now, and then you see diluted, even when Iger saying, which is everyone hates him, well, he pretty much showed his ass and such, and during the whole strikes. But here's the real issue here with Bob Iger. The man, I will say this, the person, Bob Iger, I keep saying it, is all he did as the Disney CEO was just open the checkbook. All he did. Open the checkbook. Open the checkbook. That's what he did all the dang time. Bought Pixar, bought Marvel, bought Star Wars, bought Fox. And now look at all this. Pixar is relegated to irrelevancy on Disney Plus. Star Wars, same thing. Marvel is now looking right here is a confusing mess of overproduction, bloated budgets, and not really know what they're doing. Just not even having the standards of like having writers and saying here's a plot Bible or show Bible and say what's A point B, C, and everything else. What? And the Fox deal. Oh yes, they had to shell over $8 billion for Hulu, and they're not going to stay with Hulu. Hulu's like, and they're going to probably fold it in, killing off another streaming service because hey, they had to, and they wanted to get Sky, but guess what? Sky, the British thing, went to Comcast in a blind buying deal. So Fox does, and they'll say, well, they have Avatar. They got the Avatar. Like, they put over 100 billion, the billions of dollars on that deal. The billions of dollars. Billions, ladies and gentlemen. Billions. And maybe what, 2 billion for a movie? Great job, guys. That's great. That's so great. Also, all the other movies, what other stuff other than the film Disney Plus, which is one way the streaming service that doesn't make you any money? Exactly. They gotta bring back. Oh, and also supposedly bring back the stuff in the multiverse saga. That's not. That shows really. Why don't you do what the Flash did? Bring back them in terrible CGI. Because hey, CGI, AI, it's all gonna come back. It's gonna be great. And by the way, if they're gonna probably do that, they're kind of make them younger or whatever. The salary of Iron Man 3 is around 25 million, so you better start save your pennies, Disney. But yeah, and then you have what's happening with majors, this sort of stuff. And then you look at how bad the acting was. In fact, before all this drama, you know how Jonathan Majors was a better villain? He was a better villain in Creed 3. That's right. He was a better villain in Creed 3 than in Quantumania because he actually had presence. He actually had a reason to hate them. What was his whole point? And then his defeat was actually really good. The way they showed how it's connected with Creed and and the person, that there's a connection there. There was always a connection there about how it was. There was no connection with King and Ant-Man. There was no connection, and they're having to lose to goddamn ants. It did not exactly land; it basically collapsed. That's why I know I never want to see it. Yeah, they want to do pivots and all this stuff, but yeah, the only thing is Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which another great villain, by the way, felt more of a connection to again, and James Gunn, who's now running DC. He's gone, and I think that's what they need. I think this is DC can do something. They look at all the type of stuff, but yeah, yeah. Well, it was a bit overlooked how successful it was, but it had James Gunn, Chris Pratt. But I think the star power is coming more important. Then it was Quantumania with 476 million. Anything under $500 million is and this is a problem. In fact, we can look back on the gaming industry too. That if it doesn't sell like Call of Duty or Zelda or something, it's a failure. You have to know exactly. You got to know your expectations. A man's got to know his limitations. A man's got to know his limitations. And this is the problem, Marvel. They have to keep doing everything else. My hope, if James Gunn is looking at this, he saw all this stuff here, he's like, okay, what are we going to do here to stop do this? One, we're going to make sure our budgets are low, cheap, and we don't go off with the $500 million stuff. Second, we're going to have a clear description about what is not in part of the Marvel universe or DC universe and everything else. And then to be distinct, has to be distinct and everything else. Some would say, I don't know how X-Men and everything else. Jeez. And we're still waiting for what Fantastic Four, how that's going to be. So I just think that it looks like some say it is, but I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna have for the whole mess here because this is a mess. Marvel is in a big mess. Oh, hey, what's up, Charlie? No, I believe it's gotten better, but my personal opinion. But I think I want to hear what you thought about this, about Marvel and everything else, because I think they've been I think what Marvel is going through now is they've written. I mean, the Russos basically made a bookend ending with Endgame. It was probably one of the biggest ways to end the story. That is how you do it, and they haven't know how to unlock the code ever since. And it just seemed like it just the only way to do it is either a nostalgia fest of No Way Home, or you just do a reboot or whatever. And I hate that. And now my fear is when I look at the characters and I hate the fact that it's women and black women. Yeah, it just I worry because things like I want to see strong black men, black women, and black girl, all this stuff here, not just in comic movies, but in our movies, and just like, well, I don't want this to turn into a place like, well, those black women can't draw a movie or whatever. Shut it down and just go back to the same bland white dudes for 10 billion years or whatever. That sort of stuff. Not looking at the content or whatever, seeing how this is. The comics and the MCU now is basically it is a convoluted. Yeah. Well, most things why I think the reason why is the DC animated films, because they're one note, they barely connect unless it's a sequel. They're like, here it is, bing, bam, boom. My hope is when James Gunn gets this new DCU off the ground, they make sure we're like, okay, they know what they're doing, and they can actually start basically having a bit of competition. And then Marvel can just be like, all right, we woke up. We're gonna be okay. We're gonna get ourselves back on feet. Well, maybe this is just again could be the end of all things. Who knows? But yeah, I want to hear the thoughts in the comment section and all that good stuff. Anyway, thank you guys for listening here. This is the Dukect Lounge. We'll be back on our regular night, Thursdays, at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hopefully join us next week. Anyway, this is Dukect here. Peace and love. Don't forget to like and subscribe. All that good stuff. Well, that is true. Standalones and continuities. Yeah. Anyway, thanks, Charlie. All right. Peace and love. I will see y'all when I see y'all later.